Hey guys, Kana Kakani here. Everyone remembers their first time, and for me, my first time was with Pokemon Adventures, the manga. It's the first manga I ever read. Not even knowing what manga was, I would just go to the Barnes and Noble that was close to me with my family, and my dad was an avid reader, so I'd go all the time. And every time we'd go, pretty much, I'd probably pick up a volume of it. I only got to about volume 12 as a kid, but nonetheless, it just has such an immense amount of nostalgia for me. I absolutely love it, and I went feral as a little boy picking up those volumes. But now it's been a long time since then. I mean, I haven't really interacted with the series much in 10 years, at least the Pokemon Adventures. I'm still an absolutely massive fan of Pokemon. I continue to play all the games. I love playing battle simulators of Pokemon Showdown. Absolutely love those. Shout out to Jimothy Cool. We love our Gen 3 OU in this household. Reach. But lately I've been absolutely obsessed with the Pokemon cards. I love them. I've spent way more money than I should admit or really ever should have in the first place. I absolutely love it. But will I still love the actual Pokemon Adventures manga? I didn't really know, honestly. There were a lot of shit that I loved as a child that I really have grown away from, especially when looking to anime and manga. I don't really read manga growing up. So when I say this, I mostly mean anime, but a lot of anime that I watched in middle school, especially, I didn't like. I watched Attack on Titan when I was in middle school, and I didn't like the first episode because I thought it was just a gory mess and thought it was boring. So just off of that, you can tell just how awful my opinion was. My favorite anime at the time was Sword Art Online. Should I keep going, or do you already understand just how stupid I was as a child? I think that says a lot. So if I like Pokemon Adventures, is it good? Was I stupid? I was stupid, but it is a good series. The Pokemon Adventures manga is an extremely fun read because, honestly, going back and reading it now, it has a totally different value than it did at the time. At the time, it was you could read it with whatever current generation was out, and you'd be within that generation, and you'd get to see everything that that generation has to offer you. You know, Gen 1 starts really simple. It's just all about the Pokemon. It's about capturing. It's about battling. And then all of a sudden you get to Gen 2, and they introduce the new Pokeballs, breeding, you know, they change stuff up, new types, and that's all featured more. And now we're getting into Gen 3, and I've just started reading Gen 3 in the manga, and they're introducing contests on top of the typical routes. I mean, they just keep adding and building, and that was really interesting at the time, I imagine, because obviously you're getting to see the new features getting implemented in the manga. But as someone who, you know, it's 20 odd years since the release of the games, it's really interesting to go back and read the Pokemon Adventures now because it almost acts like a time capsule of where Pokemon was at that period, whenever things like breeding were some crazy special idea and it's so cool and unique. And nowadays it's like, yeah, I mean, you have to breed for days on end to get your perfect IVV to soar, or fucking more likely your Incineroar for your VGC match. So it's, you know, it's so much more interesting seeing how much more special and unique those times were. And I think the most interesting part of the manga is just getting to see the characters. Anyone who's really interacted with the Pokemon franchise at all knows just how fucking G-rated everything in the manga or in the Pokemon franchise is. I mean, they do not want to even like think about doing anything that could be edgy. And because of that, you know, they're just you don't really do a lot. But in this manga, fuck it, we do some neat stuff. Things die. That's pretty crazy. Things die. I mean, there's violence. There's actual like human on human fighting. It's very different. I mean, it's similar to the anime, but they're willing to be a little bit more serious. I mean, there's like child kidnapping that goes on, man. Spoilers, I guess. But I mean, they take it a lot more seriously, and that plays a ton into making the characters more interesting. I will say it's really jarring that all the characters do start out at 10 years old in this manga. It's like they really, really don't act like 10-year-olds. I mean, like, you get to the point when you're like gold and silver, and like red is this like mythic legend almost, and he's fucking 12. He's 12 fucking years old. And he's the champion of the Pokemon League. Can you imagine a fucking like 12-year-old being like the greatest baseball player at the time? That'd be fucking insane. But it's just, you know, Pokemon, it's a franchise for kids, so they gotta make it interesting for kids, and you gotta be kids. It's a little jarring, but if you just ignore the age, I mean, these guys are obviously portrayed as something that would be, you know, teenagers to young adults more realistically in the way that they act, and they do things. I mean, the kids literally interact with the adults interchangeably and seamlessly. There's no way they're fucking 10. It's insane. But the actual characters, again, are just phenomenal. I mean, some of my favorites are, I love Blaine. He has an incredible story of how he becomes involved, you know, spoilers, but I mean, if you've played the games, you know about this. Blaine obviously was involved in Team Rocket, and it's interesting seeing him go from being involved in Team Rocket to being not. It's just a fun arc. Obviously, Red is the treat of them all, being the main character of the original, and seeing how he comes back up in Gold, in Silver's story, and how it's just interesting. I love that. I thought in the actual games, it was so fucking cool how you can go fight Gold. Or not, you can go fight Red in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or Gold and Silver as, you know, Gold. And it was just, oh, it was so fucking cool. And the manga, it's so cool about it. It oozes with love for the franchise. And you can really tell that, not just with the characters, but even the Pokemon, how they constantly highlight these random Pokemon. And they really want to make this world feel like you live in it. This manga takes place within the Pokemon world. You see how Pokemon interact. And there's a lot of stuff that's like, this doesn't really make sense. Like, there's so many Pokemon that can seem to do so much damage. It's like, how is everything not fucked? But that's just the Pokemon world, baby. You're in the Pokemon world. We're Pokemoning it up. You and I, we're Pokemoning it. We're Pokemoning it hard, man. That's just how it is. But if you've ever really craved the Pokemon world, anything that was, you know, like even just the tiniest bit, you know, more mature or edgier to the anime, the Pokemon Adventure manga has been just fantastic. Right now I've only gotten to the Ruby and Sapphire part, but it's Kino. It's fantastic. It's lovely. It's splendid. I have to give it my full praises. There's so much shit. Specifically, one of my favorite moments, I just have to highlight this because it's so fucking funny. Kinda spoilers. I don't fucking care, guys. Lugia comes up in the story, and Lieutenant Surge is interacting with Lugia, and he sees Lugia begin to attack. And if you know something about Lugia, let me just tell you, has a signature move called Aeroblast. It's actually like part of the game. It's a signature move to Lugia. Well, Lieutenant Surge sees him start doing the attack Aeroblast, and he, you know, at the time, he doesn't know what Aeroblast is. Lugia is this like brand new legendary mythical Pokemon, and sees Lugia start getting ready for it. He's like, Lugia is preparing a blast of air, almost like Aeroblast. I'm not kidding. It so fucking funny. I just started laughing. It was so fucking funny. I thought it was hilarious. Like, that's like literally the most fucking telegraph. I thought whenever Ho-Oh came in, they were gonna be like, who has this fire that's sacred, like sacred fire, which is the signature move of Ho-Oh. I really wanted that so bad. They didn't do it. It really disappointed me. But I mean, they sometimes can get a little bit cheesy. It's Pokemon. It's Pokemon Adventures manga. Like, come on, guys, lower your expectations. It's not gonna be anything crazy. This is not Vagabond, okay? You're not gonna get your mind blown, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's just that little bit more that I would want out of Pokemon compared to what I always felt like the anime was lacking. I feel like the anime was like, if you're older than like 10 for the most part, you just kind of lose interest. I do really want to watch that new Pokemon Horizons anime. It seems very interesting, and I know they gave the voice actor for Pikachu gets a role. I always see people post about that. So maybe checking that out in the future. Who knows? Who knows? But if you want something a little bit edgier than that Ash Ketchum, you can get that in Pokemon Adventures, and it feels great. The chapters, they just go. I literally last night was whenever I finished reading through Gold and Silver. I never actually read through that because I only got to like volume 11 or 12, and I think like around volume 15 or 18 is where the Gold and Silver arc ends. So I finally got to read the conclusion of that, and I enjoyed it. What can I say? They did it again. They made a good volume. They made a good premise. They made a good plot. They did it. They did it again. They do it every time. I don't know if they do it every time. I've only gotten through 2 generations. But yeah. Honestly, I'm just kind of amazed going back and reading this that it is more enjoyable than I thought it would be. I was expecting to go back and this was just going to be like a rerun of the anime. Because I remember moments like whenever the Blues Charmeleon slashed the fucking Arbok and literally killed that bitch. Like, just decapitated the motherfucker. And, you know, you'll never see that in the anime. You will never. But I was like, okay, maybe that, you know, thinking back to my childhood days, maybe I like overhyped that. No, that motherfucker, like, he actually decapitated it, and you find out later on that Arbok actually had to like learn to regrow just from its head because it was decapitated and it would have otherwise died. So I mean, the manga really does just ooze so much more character and realism, and just, let's be realistic, guys. If Pokemon are real, motherfuckers would be doing crimes with Pokemon. They'd be doing stuff they shouldn't be. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. I'm not even talking about like the sex stuff. I mean, like, if I had a Doug trio, that motherfucker's going tunneling straight to a bank. Just be honest, guys. Be honest. And they're honest about it. I mean, everyone misuses their Pokemon in the world. I love it. I feel like I can just keep rambling on and on because there's so many just little parts of the manga that I appreciate. I love. I just feel the actual world of it just oozes so much character. But I think the only way that you're really going to see that is if you go read it. And I'm telling you, go read it. It's worth it. I know Viz has just these beautiful deluxe volumes. I used to have those. I sold them because I got rid of a lot of my manga collection because I'm in the middle of moving. But a fantastic way to read those. They have fantastic page quality. Highly recommend those. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope you really enjoyed it. If you read the manga before, let me know down below what you thought of the manga. If you liked it, you better fucking like it. Okay? I'm not asking if you really did like it. I want you to go down there and I want you to glaze it as much as I did. Okay, guys? You go down there with a dissenting opinion, you're getting a... I don't think I can say that on YouTube, so I'm not going to finish that sentence. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. Peace.